Matrix Revolution, released in 2003, and is directed by the Wachowskis, who have also directed such films like Bound, Speed Racer, Cloud Atlas, Jupiter Ascending, and the rest of the Matrix franchise. And this movie is starring Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, Hugo Weaving, and Jada Pinkett Smith.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
Sorry. And the reason why we're talking about the Matrix Revolution today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a longtime contributor and supporter on this channel who typically gives me a whole bunch of shit to watch on screen, things that I never would go out of my way to watch, but here, it's something that, yeah, this was a big blockbuster that I wanted to check out, so thank you very much, Dr. Camp. Your constant recommendations and contributions to this channel I am forever grateful for. So happy to be kicking off the year with a couple of your recommendations, and you have several more that we're going to be getting to throughout the months, so thank you again very much. The Matrix 3 starts immediately following the events of The Matrix 2. Neo is in somewhat of a coma, and the rest of Zion is preparing for the inevitable battle with the machines and their sentinels. But they realize that Neo's brain is somehow jacked into the Matrix, so they attempt to rescue his consciousness. But while there, Neo seeks out the aid from the Oracle one last time, who informs Neo that a choice needs to be made tonight, as either the fate of humanity will fall, or maybe a peace between humans and machines can be established. So when The Matrix came out in 1999, it set up what we thought was going to be this grandiose, big blockbuster of a franchise that would go on forever, and we were going to have epic battles and epic war scenes with Neo taking on all the machines and the Matrix, and then maybe in real life, and it was going to be grand, it was going to be cool. And then we got the actual sequels to The Matrix, and they just paled in comparison. They did not live up to the majesty that the very first Matrix had. But I don't want to say it was 100% letdown, because there are some great things that we had in The Matrix Reloaded that I reviewed a couple of years ago, but we also had some great things in the Revolutions here too. We had an epic battle scene one last time between Neo and Agent Smith. That was great. How Neo is able to see as he walked through the Machine City after having his eyes burned away. Seeing all of that, that was actually very beautiful. And the whole Battle of Zion was pretty badass. It was pretty cool. All these big mechanical, big-armed giant things shooting all these big-ass cannons, all these sentinels flying around, the hammer going through all the pipeline to get to Zion to throw the EMP to save the city, even though it means nothing. And really, that's the line of the movie. All of this kind of really means nothing. Everything that happens in here, for the most part, means nothing. The whole Battle of Zion and the hammer trying to get there in time to save the doc and to save all the people, while it's cool in time, during it, watching it for the first time, when you realize after they set the EMP and they kill all the sentinels there, all of a sudden you realize, like, oh, no, there's a couple billion more that are coming. So this whole epic conclusion, everyone's like cheering and everything, it means nothing, because you're all gonna die anyway. What the fuck? And hell, we even start off with that tone and with that precedence early on in this movie. Neo's conscience is trapped in the Matrix, kind of in between worlds at this train station, and the only one who can save him is the train man, who works for the Merovingian, who we saw in Reloaded. Our trio really fucked up all of his plans and pissed off, so he has a bounty on their heads. Well, Seraph, Morpheus, and Trinity, they go to his latex leather fetish club thing, and we spend about 5 to 10 minutes him drawing this out, talking about cost and choice and blah blah blah, my friend accent. And then finally divulging that, okay, I'll give you Neo if you give me the eyes of the Oracle. But then, from out of nowhere, Trinity grabs a gun from one of the security guys, points it at his head and says, or we could do this. You give me Neo and we all don't die. And that's it. That's the conclusion. So that whole long monologue and that whole long thing of them getting into this club, it means nothing, because we were just gonna get to this point of, hey, give me him or you die. When Neo and Trinity are flying to Machine City and you have all those bombs going off and then they crash and Trinity dies, even though it is a beautiful moment, and I love that last line of how when she died before, and this plays into the point I'm trying to make here, when she dies before, she says, I'm sorry. This time she's like, I don't want to say that, I just want to say kiss me one last time. That's a beautiful moment, but like I currently said before, she had died before. She died in The Matrix Reloaded, and here she is dying again. So it was like, oh, that moment from Reloaded now kind of means nothing, because here it actually is happening and finally happened, until we get to Resurrection several years later, and all of that just means nothing. Then we get to the final battle scene between Neo and Agent Smith, which is awesome. It is epic, it is glorious, and I love all of it, except when you realize that, oh, Neo doesn't really stand a chance, and in order for this battle to end, Neo needs to sacrifice himself. So why didn't you just sacrifice yourself?
Because I choose to.
Yes, I know you said you chose to, but me, the audience member, is thinking like, why did you still do that?
Why didn't you just make the choice to sacrifice yourself in the beginning, bruh?
So the thesis of my review is basically that this movie is hollow. It looks good on the outside. We have a lot of fancy set dressing. We have a lot of spectacle here. But if you look at the actual bone of this movie and you look inside, those bones are hollow. There's nothing there. Majority of this stuff does not matter. All of the actions, all of the character deaths, all of the character sacrifices that we've gotten up to the point where Neo is absorbed by Agent Smith really mean nothing, because you have no consequence on the grand scheme of things. Did it look good on paper when it was being written by the Wachowskis? I'm sure it did. It looked really good on paper. But then on screen, in a living, breathing thing, you realize that, oh, we could have done so much more with this story. God damn it. Keanu Reeves, I think, is just fine in this film. He really continues the same performance that we've seen in the other two Matrix. And, you know, Neo's cool. Keanu Reeves, he's cool. So Neo, even though he kind of wastes our time in the end with that long-ass battle scene, he's still cool. Carrie-Anne Moss just kind of seemed like a puppet that was in place to move Neo along, and she really had no essence or purpose to be there. And probably the most heartbreaking path of a character in this franchise is Morpheus. Morpheus in the previous two films, he's the assured one. He's the one that has faith in everything. And yes, here he is. He's lost all faith because he's told that everything that he believed in is really for nothing. His job was to get Neo to the Architect so the Architect could reset the whole thing, and then this whole thing starts over again. Again, on paper, that sounds like a good pathway for a character and for an actor to explore and to experience. But as an audience member, it was just heartbreaking seeing this character that was so sure and so confident of himself in the first ones just be reduced to the background character. He really did nothing in this movie other than help Jada Pinkett Smith.
Keep my wife.
Sorry, Niobe. Sorry. He helped her drive the ship, and she kept talking about how fat the ass is of the ship the whole time, because, it's badass. She also looked like she had to poop the entire time she was driving, but, just breathe, girl, just breathe. The Matrix Revolutions is a mixed bag. Again, there's some greatness here. Again, that final battle scene I think is really cool. It has a lot of great moments, a lot of great callbacks to the original Matrix, but then you sit back and think, wait, you have copied yourself with every single person in the Matrix. There are billions of you in this Matrix. Why are all of you standing on the street corner watching one of you fight Neo when all of you could be fighting him and taking him over right away? This doesn't need to go on for 10-15 minutes like it does. It could just be this small contained thing.
Well, it's because he chooses to, that's why.
It's such a BS answer, and it's just the thesis of this review. There's just a lot of bullshit in this movie that doesn't need to be there, and it's making this film hollow. Is it terrible? No. I could go back and watch this again and again. The fight scenes are really cool. The battle scenes in Zion are really cool. But just as the overall whole, it's like, meh. I still love the first one. We'll just go back and watch that one over and over again and dream of what could have been. I'm gonna give The Matrix Revolution 2.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I found that if you have a goal, that you might not reach it. But if you don't have one, then you are never disappointed. And I gotta tell you, it feels phenomenal.
So guys, if you've seen The Matrix Revolution, what did you think about it? What is your ranking of the entire Matrix franchise? Because this isn't a trilogy anymore, because they released a 4th one last year, which, whatever. But whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.